Welcome to the Positively Joyful Productivity Show, where joy isn't a reward for productivity, it's the secret ingredient. I'm your host, Nicole Louise, coach, wife, and dog mom. This is a no-kid zone by design, created for women who are child-free, childless, or an empty nester embracing your next chapter. You all belong here. Each week, you'll hear inspiring stories from women around the world and learn tools, mindset shifts, and practical strategies for living a joyful life. You'll also discover the science behind why focusing on joy fuels focus, motivation, and lasting productivity. Let's get inspired, get organized, and create a life full of freedom, focus, and joy. Okay, welcome to the Positively Joyful Productivity Show. I am very excited for today's guest. I have Sheri Johnson with me today, who works with childless women specifically. So I'm very excited to chat with you today, Sheri. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. This is the first productivity podcast I've been on, so this is kind of exciting for me too, and something that's a little unique.
Oh, great. That's awesome. So, for my listeners, Sheri and I are going to be talking about kind of a hot button topic today. We're going to talk about why women who are not raising kids are just as busy as moms. So, we're going to dive deep into that and talk about all of that. So, let's jump in. So, Sheri, so many people assume that if you don't have kids, that you must have all the free time in the world. And so why do you think that this myth persists, and how does it affect our sense of productivity and our sense of self-worth?
Yeah, such a good way to start. And there's two sides to that, Nicole. So there's the myth that is on the other side of being childless or child free. So there's the myth that other people believe that we must have all the free time. And I think that comes from those parents remembering their 20s, like the normal course of life. You spend at least part of your 20s, if not all, as a single or newly married or newly partnered person without kids. And
Mhm.
that time I also remember being, having a fair bit of time at that point in
Mhm.
my life. I was just starting my career, starting to work. I didn't, I spent a lot of time going out with my friends and going out for dinner and doing all those things. It felt like a lot less pressure. And
Mhm.
then when a parent hits their 30s or when they have kids, then suddenly like everything ramps up. And for the people who don't have kids, man, woman, whatever in between, it doesn't really matter. There's this pressure. There's the glorified busyness in our culture, the busy mom ideal that we will strive for. Like that busy mom is idealized so much that if we aren't going to have the mom part, then we're sure as heck going to be busy.
Mm.
So we will, this is the first time I'm talking about this particular part is we actually make ourselves busy.
Yeah.
And it's not intentional, it's not our fault even, but
Mhm.
we do it subconsciously. And we all have the same 24 hours in the day. We just spend it on different things.
Mhm.
So I feel like, suddenly you have this little person to keep alive, and there's a certain amount of perceived pressure that comes with that. We
Mhm.
don't have that necessarily, but we feel pressure from other things to get our job done well, to be a contributing member of society in some other way, to fill those 24 hours. And we do.
Mhm.
It's all in the perceived amount of pressure that makes it feel stressful.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Do you agree? Do you feel
Oh,
that?
oh, I was just going to say you kind of blew my mind there because what you just said made me realize about myself. Holy shit, I've been doing that too.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think about like I'm working full time, I'm a teacher, and I'm building this business on the side. And I'm like, if I have downtime on the weekends, I like go a little crazy, like, oh my God, I should be doing something. And so, whoa,
Yes.
you're
Mm-hmm.
totally right. You are so right. We definitely make ourselves more busy than we need to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. And even the parents, I think, will begin to realize that. I had a friend say to me once, um, I ran into her just as her kids had grown up and moved out of the house. And I saw her and I'm like, how are things? And she's like, oh, they're so busy. And she's like, it's funny. My kids just moved out of the house and I thought I'd have all this time. And I feel like I'm just as busy as I was before. And she
Hmm.
looked at me and said, we really do it to ourselves, don't we? And I laughed because I was starting this work at that point, and I was like, yeah, it's funny that you start to get that when you see how busy your life is even after the kids have left the house.
Right.
Or you'd have your nest is never filled to begin with.
Hmm. Yeah, true. I know it's funny because I have a couple of friends with kids and they're little, they're like elementary age and they're signing them up for all these sports in like kindergarten and second grade and then they'll complain about being, on the go every single weekend. And I never say this out loud, but this is a place where we can talk about these things. And I'm like, you chose that for yourself, right? Like it's like they
Exactly.
don't get it. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So insightful. Thank you for sharing that.
Hmm.
Ugh. So, Sheri, in your experience working with childless women specifically, what are some of the unique ways that women fill their schedules, both by choice or obligation, and sometimes they overlook that?
Yeah, that's such a good question too, because there are both. There's obligations
Hmm.
and there's the choices. So let's talk about the choices first. I think with women who don't have kids, chosen or not,
Hmm.
I think there's this subconscious pressure, societal pressure maybe, that if we are not going to contribute the way we're quote unquote supposed to,
Hmm.
then we better contribute in some other way. We must have some big plan B or plan A for those who choose not to have kids. But it better be big. Like we better make an
Right.
impact. And so in many different ways, people who don't have kids will subconsciously try to fill up their schedules with that kind of thing, like the volunteer opportunities or joining a cause or doing two things, like if I'm a teacher like you, I'm not a
Hmm.
teacher. Um, this is somebody talking. Like I'm a
Hmm.
teacher and
Right.
or I have a corporate job, but I want to make a bigger impact. That's not quite enough. And
Hmm.
so I need to start a business on the side. That's exactly what I did. I had a corporate job. I started this business working with, well, started a long time ago, coaching other women and then eventually childless women and
Hmm.
now midlife women. And that felt more rewarding for me. So I thought, well, okay, I'll keep the other job that's going to pay the bills for now and do this other job. So this other entrepreneurial venture. So we
Right.
will fill that with what we feel makes us valuable or a contributing member of society or important in some other way. And that's, I think, conditioned. Like we need to make an impact. You need to leave a legacy.
Hmm.
So we will do that. But then the obligation side, I think that's a whole, like we could do a podcast just on that because I think
Oh,
that childless women, I keep saying people, but it's really, this is a female thing.
yeah.
Women who don't have kids will subconsciously make themselves busy, as we said. And a lot of that is through obligation. So we will feel obligated, for example, to be the one who does the driving to the family gatherings. So you live out of state, I'm going to come to you because it's easier. I have more time. We'll tell ourselves that we have more time. I don't have kids. You're busier than I am, so I'll bring the food or I'll drive to you. I'll drive to you or um we will, I don't know, we'll say yes to things that we feel we should, maybe even more often than a mother because we feel like we should have more time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that comes into play on the obligation side more, even more so sometimes than it would with a mother, because we feel obligated and we'll tell ourselves that we should have more time.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do those things out of obligation that some parents might just say no to because they're like, no, I don't have time for that.
Right. Yeah. I resonate with that for sure. My sister has two toddlers. And, for me right now, it's summer break at the time that we're recording this. And, we like to get together and I like to see the kids and we'll go play at the park and whatever. And I find that I'm always driving to her because it's easier, right?
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I totally fall into that trap. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh. But,
Hmm.
my time is just as valuable too, right?
Absolutely. You're just spending it on different things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the biggest myth is that society conditions women to believe that their primary role and their most valuable role is to have and raise kids.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not doing that, then you're not as valuable or important. And that's the conditioning that we really need to unravel because your worth is the same as mine is the same as a mother's or a father's or a celebrity's. It doesn't really matter. We all there's no, if we really think about it, like everyone on the earth has the same value.
Mm-hmm.
We're all
Yeah,
worthy.
absolutely. And I think that that's not only something that we as individuals have to work on, but obviously society as a whole, right? I mean,
Mm.
that's a huge, you said it yourself, we're conditioned to, have kids and be a mom. That's what we're designed for, right? That's what society pushes so hard. And so there's so much undoing that has to be done. It's, whew,
Oh
feels
yeah, it's
impossible.
yeah, it's epidemic. It really like it's not just like childless women, child-free women, we have our kind of the we have our ways of coping with these subconscious beliefs. Parents have theirs, but it's all the same subconscious beliefs that drive it. Parents are just, they're under the same impression that you're more valuable if you're a mom. That's
Hmm.
your primary role. So I'm going to be the best, like this is where the super mom comes in. I'm going to be
Yeah.
the best mom that I can possibly be. And if I'm not doing all the things, if I'm not spending all my time with my kids, then that must mean I'm not as valuable or that must mean I don't love my children as much or like there's all this conditioning that keeps us in serving, serving
Hmm.
children first and serving, I mean, there's patriarchy for you that's serving others, men, the
Oh yeah.
boss, your
Oh.
clients, your students, the dog.
Hmm.
That all comes before you, before a woman, for
Right.
us.
Yeah. It's so interesting having this conversation. You're bringing to light so many things. And one thing that I'm picking up is that at the end of the day, whether you're a mom, whether you're childless, whether you're child free, we all have the same challenges. It just manifests a little differently based on our own circumstances. And that right there should be so powerful to all of us. Like, we all need to band together and say enough is enough. It's,
Mm-hmm.
what a powerful message, Sheri.
100%.
So,
Yeah, and you just nailed it. Like that is the core message is we all feel these same pressures and yet there is a bit of a I mean, you probably feel this, and we're going off topic maybe a little bit, but
That's okay.
there's a there's a bit of a divide between the moms and the not moms. Like
Mm-hmm.
the moms are like, "No, I'm busier than you." And the not moms are like, "No, I'm just as busy." And that, we're also like feeling less than and trying to prove our value, and moms are doing the same. Like it's all the same. We're all doing the same thing. We all
Yeah.
have the same desire to be valued,
Mm-hmm.
to be worthy. So we're all striving for that. It's just all manifesting in different ways, as you said.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. I'm just processing all of that for a minute. I'm going to move on to the next question, but that's just, again, such a powerful message to any woman listening. And so, if you are a woman listening to this and, feel free to share this episode with anyone who needs to hear this message because it's so powerful and it's so true. Like at the end of the day, we're all on the same team here. We just have different circumstances.
Yeah,
Ugh.
totally.
So, many women not raising kids feel this strange guilt for saying that they're busy, almost like they don't have this right to feel overwhelmed compared to moms. And I'm curious, Sheri, have you seen this and how can we start shifting that narrative?
Yes, is the short answer. Every one of my clients complains about this. They all feel guilty about, like, they feel like they're not allowed to talk about being busy because they essentially what it is, and I'm going to say this because I think it is a safe space. And even if there are some moms listening, this isn't a slight against them.
Hmm.
There's, with that guilt, is a fear of being shamed. I
Yes.
think it's like underneath of that guilt is some sort of shame that I shouldn't actually be this busy because I don't have kids and I haven't done this foundational thing that women are supposed to do. And so there's some shame around that.
Hmm.
And even if you choose not to have kids, there's some shame around, well, what's wrong with me that I didn't want them?
Yes.
And if you didn't have kids because of something else, you didn't get the opportunity, like if you wanted them and didn't have the opportunity to have them for whatever reason, you feel shame because you think there's something wrong with you as well. Like, what's wrong with my body that it didn't produce a child? Pregnancy
Right.
didn't stick, or that a man didn't choose me, or partner, I wasn't chosen. And so
Hmm.
I'm single and I don't have kids, or whatever. Like, there's shame underneath of that guilt that I didn't have kids. I chose not to have kids. I didn't get to have them. And so there's something that is wrong with me. And there's also something wrong with me if I'm so busy and I shouldn't be.
Hmm.
So there's the guilt comes from I shouldn't be so busy. It's
Yeah.
only people who have kids who should be busy. It's should
Hmm.
that that makes us feel that guilt. And underneath of that, I think is the same conditioning.
Hmm.
It's the same pronatalist, patriarchal conditioning that tells us we're only valuable and this is the path you're supposed to follow and you're only valuable if you follow it. And so
Hmm.
then if you don't, well, what then? Like then there's all this other stuff that comes up, even if you did choose it.
Yeah.
So that's where I think that comes from. But I also think that there's a deeper conditioning for all women that we don't deserve to spend time and attention and energy on ourselves.
Hmm. Yes.
So if we're if we're like telling the world that we're busy, then that's kind of fitting in with what we're supposed to be as women,
Mm.
because there's equal amount of guilt or shame around saying I'm not busy.
Yeah.
It's
Hmm.
interesting, eh? It's a bit of a paradox.
It is. And just to kind of add to that a little bit, it's kind of ironic to me that, we're not supposed to spend time on ourselves. However, you're supposed to look like Barbie, right?
Yep.
So don't spend time on yourself, but you have to look and be perfect and wear the right outfits and, wear the makeup and all this and that. And so at the end of the day, we can't win.
No,
It's
it's a no-win situation
right.
until we actually take that back. Like until we actually like unpack all of this conditioning, the
Mm,
programming that
yeah.
has, and it's ongoing. Like this is 5,000 years of conditioning.
Oh, yeah.
And that has, I think, just exacerbated in the last, I don't know, 50 years, maybe since the 50s, when you're
Hmm.
supposed to be the perfect wife and all the
Yeah.
things. And then it just sort of shifts a little bit over the years.
Hmm.
And so we have a lot to unravel.
We really do. And I think I might have this question somewhere toward the end, but I'm going to ask it now. So, to the woman listening who might be identifying with, the guilt or the shame or anything that we've discussed so far, what would you say to her? What would be her first step toward, breaking those barriers and getting through that?
The first step I say is always simply to notice. It's noticing, like if you're listening to this podcast, I'm hoping that you're kind of awakening to this idea that there is some subconscious beliefs, there's some stuff that's going on. It's not just you, and it's
Mhm.
not all the external stuff. Like you can say, oh, my job keeps me busy. My aging parents are keeping me busy. There is all the external things,
Mhm.
but it's if we can take a step back and like watch yourself, observe yourself when you're saying yes to some things you don't want to do, when you're saying no to yourself, when there's something that needs to, like when you need attention and or time to yourself.
Mhm.
If you can notice what's coming up for you as you listen to this, if you're beginning to awaken to this idea that, oh, maybe there's something else going on here, that's the first step.
Mhm.
That is, things will start to shift just with, what you said, you're kind of blowing my mind at the beginning, just with this idea that maybe we are involved in our own busyness. So
Mhm.
that's really the first step is just take a step back and notice when are you saying yes when you want to say no? When are you filling up your schedule when you actually could use some time to yourself? And the next question is, why am I saying yes? Like, what's got me saying yes to this when
Mhm.
I know I want to say no?
Right.
That's what's going to give you the answers.
Yeah. And I love that you said toward the beginning of your answer that it's not just you referring to the societal conditioning. I feel like that takes a little bit of pressure off. Like, okay, I want to
Hmm.
say no. It's like it gives you permission, you know? Like, I can say no because it's what I want to do, not what society wants me to do or Susie Q or Johnny, whoever wants me to do. It's what I want. And so I love that you said that. It's not just you, it does take that pressure off a little bit.
It does. And you know what? You're starting to get into, or we are starting to get into boundaries and saying, where do we draw those boundaries? When do we say yes? When do we say no? And my sister and I, who we run our business together now, she said something to me not that long ago that really got me thinking. She said, I always say that you're not going to say no, you're not going to draw a boundary if you don't feel worthy of it. So
Mm,
you won't say no if you feel like your worth or your value depends on you saying yes. But
hmm
the other thing that happens is you won't say no if your nervous system is fired up.
hmm
So here's another thing that your listeners could maybe do is when you're presented with a situation where, I don't know, it doesn't even matter. Your boss asks you to do this extra project or somebody asks you to bring the food when you know you aren't going to have time to make it, or whatever it is, and you want to say no, what's happening inside your body?
Mm,
More than likely, your nervous system is starting to fire up and you feel anxious because you don't want to say yes, but you don't want to say no.
right.
So, this conflict, and until you're able to like calm the nervous system, you won't ever be able to say no. So, you have to learn that. But noticing that is maybe the second step, is
Mhm.
just noticing what's happening in your body when you want to say no to something.
Yeah, that's so important. And I think that, and I don't know if this is conditioning or what, but we don't pay attention to our bodies and we don't pay attention to the feelings and emotions that are coming up. I mean, frankly, I just learned to do that, not so long ago because it's not taught in school. Our parents weren't aware of emotion. This is a relatively new concept, generally speaking. And but what's powerful is when you're able to do that and noticing the shifts in your own behavior and understanding like why I'm reacting this way. And then you can kind of take steps to start to say no and draw those boundaries. So it's definitely a process, I think. But you're right. Step one is recognizing, like paying attention to what's going on inside of you. So important.
Yeah, it's definitely a process and it's a practice.
Yeah.
And and it is also conditioning. Like we've actually been taught to ignore our body signals. It
Hmm.
starts right back when we're kids. Like,
Yeah.
you're full? No, finish your plate. Or at
Mm.
least take another few bites. You tell me you're full. And it's, gosh, when you're a teacher, it's you can't go to the bathroom until it's break time. So sorry, hold on to your bladder. And we do
Uh-huh.
this at our desks, right? I just got to finish this one thing and then I'll go. So then I'll go get the glass of water. Then I'll go for a pee. Then I'll, like, whatever it is. We self-abandon on a regular basis, and we've been taught to do it even in school.
Hmm.
I don't know how your school works, and maybe this has changed, but when I was in school, you if you have to if you have to pee, you have to raise your hand and ask to go, and you might still get a no. It might still be like, no, we're gonna get a break in 10 minutes. You can wait till then.
Oh yeah, that's still very much a
Recess
thing.
is in 10.
Yep.
Yeah, so we that is conditioning. We're taught to abandon all those bodily signals and
Mm.
be pay attention, be productive, finish what you're doing, and then your body, then maybe we take care of our body.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned teachers because as you were speaking earlier, I was thinking of all the ways that teachers specifically take on so much and don't draw boundaries. And I see it firsthand all the time. They constantly go above and beyond. And then it's well, it's for the kids. There's that old adage
Yes.
constantly bombarded with. And it's that guilt trip. It's totally a guilt
Mm-hmm.
trip. And I've stopped buying into that because, well, this is a whole other podcast episode too, but at the end of the day, education is about money too. Like, let's be real, it's not about the kids. So,
No.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, yeah. But anyway, like I said,
Yep.
whole other podcast episode.
Oh,
Oh,
totally. That could be one. Oh gosh, that could be a rabbit hole.
oh, for
Hmm.
sure. For sure. Oh my goodness. So, what's one of the biggest time or energy drains that you see for women without kids? And how can we start reclaiming some of that space for ourselves?
I mean, it's other people, but I
Hmm.
think it just depends on who those other people are.
Yeah.
So it's part of that same conditioning that, like, I'm a woman, I need to serve everybody else before me. And
Hmm.
most women will actually, like, there's probably women listening to your podcast who are like, wait, what? I'm not supposed to put myself last? Like, the kids come first.
Hmm.
My, like, I need to take care of, I don't know, my boss or my clients, or I can't eat yet because I have a client meeting, or I've got to respond back to this client. They're like waiting for me.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can't eat yet because, well, I got to finish this marking. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what you're doing. The drain is telling yourself that other people come first. So we never spend time or energy on ourselves without feeling guilty, because that actually never ends. There's always someone else who will take up your time and your energy if you're willing to let them.
Yeah. So this is a little bit of a tangent too, but that brings up, the whole argument about being selfish. Women who
Mhm.
choose not to have children are very often labeled selfish. And I think that, okay, so you're a woman that isn't raising kids, whether by choice or other, and then you're spending all this time on yourself. Well, oh my God, that's just the ultimate act of selfishness right there. So,
Yeah,
any any thoughts or advice on that? And I'm totally putting you
that's
on the spot,
selfish.
but
No, not at all, because I've thought about this a lot. That selfish line has been running through like our subcon. That is like a ticker tape running in the background all the time for women. This
yeah.
fear of appearing selfish. And, this comes up. It comes up for childless women a lot, where the media will portray women without kids as selfish. They're only taking care of themselves. So the only selfless thing you can do is raise kids. Everything else you do for you is selfish.
Hmm.
And mothers feel the same way, actually.
Yeah.
If they're not taking, like, if they want to do something, if they want time themselves, they feel like, oh, that's selfish. I'm not taking care of my kids, or I'm not spending my attention on my kids or work or something ultimately going to come back to the kids, then
Hmm.
I'm being selfish. So
Yeah.
this has been running in the background of our subconscious, like through, like, I feel like it's part of the patriarchal conditioning. And
Mhm.
women who don't have kids, that is still in the media today. Like JD Vance, you probably remember that conversation that went around the political world and the Instagram one,
Yeah.
where he talked about women who don't have kids as being, I don't know if he used the word selfish, I can't remember, but miserable cat ladies who have nothing like they have no stake in America.
Yeah.
They like the media that portrays women without kids as there's something wild about them. There's something selfish about them. There's that is very scary for anyone, but that is there. So it's in the media that portrays people who are not focusing on kids as selfish.
Hmm.
It's societal conditioning. And so we're up against a lot to sort of overcome that. And
Yeah.
so I'm getting into like a little bit of the deeper stuff that I don't usually talk about on podcasts, but what we have to do as women without kids is let go of that conditioning, and like it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks.
Hmm.
It's just that idea that we're selfish. Like that's just I like to say that that's just somebody holding up a sign, their personal billboard. This is what I believe. I believe that childless women are selfish. You don't have to take that on if you don't want to.
Right.
I don't have to, like, sure, that's what you think. I'm like gesturing, like, there's your sign of what's going on in your head. Thank you for sharing what's going on in your head.
Hmm.
That doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
And we all know that it's like the women who don't have kids, like, look at what some of them have done for the world. Oprah doesn't have kids.
Right.
Dolly Parton doesn't have kids. Mother Teresa didn't have kids. Like,
Mhm.
those are some of the prime examples of what these people do.
Yes.
The philanthropy, the way they've impacted the world.
Hmm.
Like, don't tell me that there's something different between the women who don't have kids and the women who do in terms of their,
Right.
like, what they contribute.
Yeah. Well, and that goes right back to kind of where we started, that at the end of the day, we're all just women.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we are. We're all driven by the same forces
Yeah.
and usually driven towards the same things. Like, we
Hmm.
all just want to be loved, we want to be worthy, we want to be valuable,
Right.
we want to be respected.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's just that we go about it, we use these societal measuring sticks that tell us what is worthy,
Hmm.
whether that's having kids or how much money you have or what title you have at work, or that's all external.
I was just going to say the same thing. It's those are all those external factors, but going back to what you said earlier about tuning into yourself and,
Hmm.
you know, understanding what is valuable to you, what your core values are, that stuff should be driving you, not those external forces. So,
Hmm. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Okay. So, if you could give one piece of advice to a woman without kids who's feeling completely maxed out, but guilty for even admitting it, what would you tell her?
So I thought about this ahead of time too, Nicole, and I want to draw it back to your mission because you're here to help women become more productive.
Mhm.
And I want that for women to be more efficient, be more productive. But I also want them to know that all the productivity tools in the world won't work if you aren't aware of what's driving you to be busy in the first place, because you can put all of Nicole's amazing tips into place and
Mhm.
save yourself some time. And then you will just go and fill that time with something, something else rather than rest on yourself, rest or pleasure or self-care.
Yeah.
If you feel guilty when you have time available for yourself.
Hmm.
So I think that sort of sums up what I really want to say is do the productivity stuff, like follow all Nicole's advice, but then also look at what comes up when you suddenly have some time. What are you filling it with? What
Hmm.
are you like? What's happening in your body? To go back to that conversation, is your nervous system firing up? Are you getting anxious because you now have time that you don't know what to do with and you don't want to spend it on yourself? So look at all of that. Like, just begin to notice and observe yourself.
Yeah.
I think that sums it
That's
up.
such, yeah, that's such a great answer. And it's interesting because when you do start to free up time, it's uncomfortable. You don't know what to do with
Yeah,
yourself. Like you get a little like twitchy almost. At least I did.
totally.
And then I was like, wait a minute. Like, well, this past week, for example, my husband was home and I completely stepped away from the business. I'm like, you know what? He works crazy hours. I need to spend time with him and we're going to spend time together and just enjoy this week. And I did. And like I teach everybody else, but sometimes the teacher doesn't always follow her own advice, right? So I finally did.
Yeah.
And I came back today. So today I'm like back at it and I feel amazing. Like I feel energized and rejuvenated. And so, you know, do as I say, not as I do, right? But again,
Well,
go ahead.
yeah, sorry. That's such an important point because rest and pleasure and
Mhm.
doing what you want to do
Yeah.
versus I'll call out one thing that you said was I need to spend time with my husband. No, you wanted to spend time with him. I mean, maybe you did need
Yeah.
to as well, but
Yeah.
but you're allowed to want to
Mm,
spend time just doing something pleasurable.
mm-hmm.
And that's like that's that's productive because you came
Yes.
back refreshed and ready to work. Rest is productive.
Mm-hmm.
Pleasure, like that gives your mind a break and a chance to like do all the problem solving and creative thinking that it needs to do in order to be more productive when you get back to your desk or in front of
Mm-hmm.
the students or wherever, whatever your job is or whatever you need to do.
Right. Yeah. Oh, such great reminders. All
Hmm.
right. So let's sum it up here. Or not sum it up, but wrap it up, I suppose. On the Positively Joyful Productivity Show, we align with joy. So, Sheri, I would love to hear what is one thing that you do for yourself that brings you joy.
Mm, I can't narrow it down.
That's okay.
So I guess the one thing that I'm going to say is that it's the little things. I mean, sure, I travel. I love to travel.
Mm-hmm.
That brings me joy. But it's the date, like I don't wait for travel to have joy. It's the little things. So right now, it's summer. We live on the water. I love meditating by the lake. I spend
Mm,
15 minutes every morning. I love doing that. I love
yeah.
having coffee with my husband outside. In
Mm-hmm.
the winter, I love to like, later in the afternoon, I put some jazz music on. I turn on all the like the lamps, the low, like that nice glow lamp,
Yeah.
and maybe even light a fire. And I just sit there and listen to that. Like that, it's the little things that
Mm-hmm.
really bring me joy on a day-to-day basis.
Mm. I love that answer. And I've interviewed quite a few women at this point, and every single woman has had a different answer, or something kind of similar. But I love hearing all of the different things that bring all of these women joy. And I agree with you that it really is the little things. I've spoken on the podcast before about the joyful five. So the five things that I do every day that bring me joy. And so at the end of the day, I write them down, and it's just a nice little reminder of like all the good in the world. We're surrounded by negativity all the time, and I'm like, I'm done with that. So yeah, focusing
Hmm.
on those little things is so important. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Ah, well, this has been, I would say, the most amazing, impactful conversation I've had thus far. And this was such a pleasure chatting with you, Sheri. I am so glad that you were a guest on our podcast today. And to my listeners, definitely go check out Sheri. And Sheri, do you want to tell them about your freebie?
Yeah. So by the time you have this, by the time you publish this episode, we are going to have a
Mhm.
quiz ready.
Ooh.
So if you have been listening to this and wondering, well, what is it that's keeping me busy? There are six, call them coping strategies. We like to call them busy blind spots because they are kind of blind spots.
Hmm.
And so take the quiz and find out which of these midlife coping strategies or midlife busy blind spots that you are most prone to. What's keeping you busy? So that quiz is going to be out. And yeah, find out which is yours, which is the one you gravitate towards the most.
Hmm. I will be taking this for sure. And to my listeners, we will drop the in the show notes. So make sure to click and go take the quiz, find out your blind spot. So Sheri, where can my listeners find you?
Instagram's probably the best spot, and it's at Sheri Johnson Coaching.
Yes, I will drop that in the show notes below. So make sure you grab Sheri's freebie, go take her quiz, check her out on Instagram, show her some love. And to my listeners, have a beautiful week ahead. I will chat with you very soon.